As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, welcome back into the Room to Room Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Gabe Boehner, and you are tuned in to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. It's been a busy afternoon for a couple of us. I feel like I've been saying that the past few days because of those isolated showers and storms continue to linger across North Mississippi, and we expect those chances to continue into our evening. That's the first thing we'll be tracking here in the Room to Room Weather Center are those limited rain chances through this evening. Just what to expect and who needs to expect it. Well, we'll have the latest on that forecast. Some Friday night games may have rain. I know there's a lot of ifs and thens in that statement, but the thing that you need to take from that is that rain chances are lingering, and yes, we will have a few drops of rain for a couple of those Friday night games. Not everybody, majority of us stay dry, but there is that potential for Friday night, and we'll have the latest on that forecast. And you may have heard Tropical Storm Gabrielle is official, has developed into that tropical storm strength, and is our, 7th named storm so far for 2025. We'll walk in full detail of what to expect with that tropical storm, but a little spoiler alert, we're not going to see impacts here in North Mississippi. What we're seeing impacts from is still those isolated showers, 20% by around 7 o'clock, dissipating out as we head overnight. We see 10% by 10, 10% by 1, lighter to basically nothing towards tomorrow morning, so that morning commute looking phenomenal. So the first 12 is going to start with a little bit of a soggy forecast for a couple folks, but tomorrow morning, sunshine back in the forecast, temperature-wise, a mild start to the day with temperatures in the mid-60s. Let's take a look at a few cameras across the region. Tupelo showcasing this beautiful shot there, looking directly east at a few of those showers towards Alabama. That's where it's been a more active pattern, but at least you're getting a look at some of those that cloud debris there in the distance, but no effects here in Lee County. We had a few showers move through earlier on, but all of those basically dissipated over the Maynard household. So you can thank us for why you didn't get showers in Tupelo. Batesville, 91 degrees and beautiful blue skies. I mean, beautiful blue in Batesville. There's your alliteration for the day. That's an easy way to remember the forecast here in Panola County. But 91 degrees, we need to add hot to that. I guess bolstering, is that a good word to describe the heat? I think that will work. Greenville, 93 degrees, feels like 95, so those heat indices at least bumping up those feels like values a few degrees. But other than those few isolated showers, we're seeing blue skies everywhere else, so a beautiful forecast heading into the evening for any of those church plans or whatever you have planned for your Wednesday. Caledonia, the same thing. You're just getting a great shot at some of those cloud tops there in the distance, again looking west where a few showers developed, but blue sky still seeping on through, and so is that sunshine there on the left side of your screen. So a beautiful shot there, and that's what we're dealing with right now as we head into that 6 o'clock hour. Almost could bump those rain chances down as we head into that 6, 7, 8 o'clock hour, because watch how these have progressed way down from what they once were. That one shower that was down there towards Winston County, let's take a look at what exactly happened with that, because this is a meteorological phenomenon that happens this time of year, and this is a big driver in our forecast. So when you see those purples show up, and of course, purple's on the higher end of the spectrum for rainfall and for our cloud tops. So that was a pretty intense storm. We talked about it a moment ago. Well, what happened was, look at this boundary that develops, and I'm going to draw it out. Actually, let's jump to the latest scan, and I'm going to draw it out here real quick. You can see that boundary right along there. Out ahead, well, I guess it continues, out ahead of that storm. Whereas, look a few scans ago and watch how this boundary was basically directly beside it, interacting with it before it got way out away. Whenever that boundary pushes away from these storms, that basically means it's a collapsing phase, and that means that we've entered the latter stages of this storm's lifespan. A good sign, because that definitely, if it was to continue to increase, that would definitely be a concerning sight. But fortunately, might have gotten a few small hailstones, definitely some heavy rainfall, but that was the most that we've gotten. Up here in Bruce and Houston, part of a cluster of storms that were moving through the area earlier. This is the extent of where we sit now. I mean, right over Reed and just east of Highway 341 there towards Calhoun County. So, I mean, we would track it, but let's go over the last 15 minutes and you might notice that there's been very little movement with this. Right over the top of that same general area there in Highway 341 and Reed basically forming right over the top of you, giving you some much needed rainfall. So tell your friends about it because they've probably not seen rain in quite some time. It's been such a dry forecast and been very hit or miss. So for folks that are getting rainfall, consider yourself lucky because again, not everyone has been seeing it. So far today, if we look at some of those rainfall totals, the most significant shower down here towards Clay and Oktibbeha County, you're seeing 1.2 inches on the northwest side of Oktibbeha County, just under an inch on the southwest side there towards Sturgis. I'm sorry, I forgot. I live down there, I should know that. Half of an inch there towards Prentice County, and then up there closer to northeastern New Albany, just about an inch. And then up there towards Iuka got a decent bit as well, about a half of an inch. Sardis showcasing about 3/4 of an inch. So some areas did get it, but like we mentioned, those showers just got into Lee County and then never fully reached Tupelo. As you see, a big fat 0 because that has been our forecast today. Just hot and dry all day long, and we're just watching all of our neighbors enjoy this rainfall, whereas we do not get a single drop. So let's go ahead and expand this out and we can track this surface analysis here real quick because this is a big driver in our forecast as well. It's similar to what we've been seeing the past few days. We have this high pressure dominating this entire region of the United States. I would say the eastern United States, but this low pressure center kind of interacting some of that moisture there towards Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. So this is the exception. Everywhere else on the eastern United States dealing with high pressure. And that high pressure has what we call a shear axis that's developing that has these, the winds basically going different ways. And wherever that happens, there forms a boundary right over the top. And we're getting that almost zipper-like look there towards Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, and even some on the outskirts there towards Tupelo. So that's why we're getting rain showers all the way here in North Mississippi, but again, not overly high in coverage and definitely not like what they're seeing in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Missouri, especially not up there towards the northwest. But they can keep all that weather because that's more significant weather with some strong storms possible. You see a lot of that storm activity primarily towards northern Texas and northwest Oklahoma. Those continue to stick around that general region, and that's your best bet for rainfall. Everywhere else, just a dry, clear forecast. So 3 a.m. on your Thursday, might see a brief pop-up shower, but that's the extent of our rain chances, not getting anything widespread like Topeka at 6 a.m. But moving into our 8 and 9 o'clock threshold, you're still dealing with those clear skies, high pressure becoming even more of a dominant force by 9 a.m. And that's going to keep our forecast dry for the most part for our Thursday. I say for the most part because there is the chance with that peak heating that a few of those showers do develop back into our area. So 6 a.m., 67 degrees, 77 by 9, 90 already by noontime, and we're climbing to the mid-90s heading into your mid-afternoon. Now you do see those 10% rain chances return, so that's the extent of those rain chances. We're not going to see anything too significant, so if you're banking on not having to water the plants tomorrow, go ahead and do it because 10% is not exactly something to bank on unless you're feeling really, really lucky. So coming up here in the next 60 seconds, we'll give you a general idea on where those showers can be expected, but similar to what we saw today, very sporadic development, not exactly a uniform distribution. So it's going to be, again, a hit or miss forecast with an underline and a bold on the miss part of that terminology. And then we're also taking a look at Gabrielle, tropical storm in the Atlantic right now. Latest development in the tropics. We'll have a full breakdown on what to expect with, I think Matt said to call them an it, despite Gabrielle being a female name. We're going to say with it coming up in the next 60.
At Bulldog Burger, we take the burger game to the next level, like the Freshman 15, stacked with panko fried mozzarella. Unleash your appetite.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Just another beautiful evening heading into our Wednesday. 86 degrees in the Kosciuszko area. Folks heading to church, you can see busy parking lot there as our midweek activities begin. So if you're heading out the door for church or waiting on me to wrap up the forecast so you can get to church, well, it's going to be a good forecast for it. And I promise I will not be long because with these days, it's a relatively simple forecast that we can walk through pretty quickly. So 86 degrees, feeling like 86, so that drier air once again dominating our forecast with blue skies. You see it in Kosciuszko. You're also seeing it in parts of Pontotoc as well with those blue skies lingering in the forecast. Taking a look across North Mississippi with Smithsville, showcasing a beautiful sight there as that sun starts to set. Keep in mind, sunset's not going to be like it usually is, that 7 o'clock hour now going to be a little bit darker than what it was before as sunsets now before 7 as that starts to become sooner and sooner. So I know folks don't exactly enjoy that. It's just heading into our fall season that can be expected. So as we keep with that forecast, we expect a beautiful sunset. Did I say sunrise earlier? I meant sunset. I don't know what I said, but I meant sunset. And the bugs are excited for it, as you see cheering there on the camera lens. We're going to get off that camera because even though it's a camera, those still startle me just a bit. So Mississippi Live Weather Radar, you might notice a big difference over the past hour or so as that storm dissipated out and that outflow boundary got out away from it. And even there towards Calhoun County, that becomes the one storm that we're watching. And again, we'll do an updated storm track on those, but that's all that we're going to be doing a storm track on because you just notice it's a much calmer, much lighter, much drier forecast, however you want to word the terminology. This is the only shower we're watching right there towards Lloyd and Reed. That is going to be producing some decent downpours, but I mean, considering how wide is that storm? East to west, 1.5 miles. All right, there's your rain chances. There's that 10%. And that's going to be lingering there towards the Lloyd and Thorne areas right along Highway 341. If I put this on a loop for about 30 minutes, you can get an idea that this is basically forming right over the top of that area. Maybe trending a little bit more south, but it's just following this boundary that continues to develop more on the backside of this. So I almost don't want to do a storm track because it's still going to be right over the top of that same general area. So fortunate for Reed, fortunate for folks west of Thorne, fortunate for folks east of Lloyd. Everywhere else, not so fortunate. So let's get back into this forecast. And again, a completely different story over the past hour. So this is just going to continue to dry up overnight with the chance at a few pop-up showers into those overnight hours. Right here at 7 o'clock, you can get a good idea on just how extensive those rain chances are and just showing that pop-up, the cyclical nature. I mean, it's just not a best bet for rainfall this evening. So drier conditions for those church plans, drier conditions for any plans afterwards. If you want to go grab dinner or ice cream after that, don't complain one bit because the forecast is as ideal for it as possible. As you can see, moving into Yalobusha County by 5 and 6 a.m., some of those showers trying to linger in the forecast, but that's the extent of those rain chances, so still remaining dry for our morning commute heading into our Thursday. Mild conditions with 66 degrees showing up in Bruce, 67 Tupelo, 65 Red Bay, and 69 over there towards Cleveland and Belzona. Going through the day, though, we will definitely see those temperatures warm back up. We've been talking about limited moisture. Well, the heat, that is one thing we can guarantee. 66 degrees by drop-off, 87 there towards lunch. And that final bell, once it rings, students going to be heading out to a hot atmosphere once again with a few pop-up showers, bringing some rain-cooled relief to just a few folks. I mean, if we had to draw out a scale here, it'd be this low. So looking at Futurecast right here, you can see there towards the morning that those chances do try to linger. Again, not overly high on those, and we do have the 99% of us staying on the drier side throughout our Thursday morning commute. We keep that going into the lunch hour, and you see that rain shower still staying void of North Mississippi, so we're continuing that drier forecast. But let's move into the afternoon, and I think that Futurecast does a little bit more extensive than what I believe is actually going to happen, meaning that we're seeing more of these pop-up showers than what is actually going to verify. But at least a few pop-up showers are possible with some decent downpours with those reds and those oranges popping up there towards Chula and there around the Fulton area. area. Those continue to linger into that 5 and 6 o'clock hour. But again, not overly extensive on those chances and only going to see a few areas get that significant rainfall that we need. Keep in mind, what day is this? This is Thursday. This is the day the drought monitor comes out with that latest outlook. So we are not expecting good things, and we're awaiting that drought monitor, but not exactly awaiting with excitement. It's not going to be a good look for that drought monitor, unfortunately. 94 degrees for Tupelo by the afternoon, 94 New Albany. We are seeing a few 95s sprinkle in there towards Greenville, Water Valley, and Bruce. So a little bit more toasty than what we had today, just a result of that slight warming trend. Heat indices at least keeping those 95s as bearable as they can be because of that drier air, not exactly making it oppressive for that forecast. 8 p.m. on your Thursday, still those drier conditions persisting, and that'll continue overnight and into the start of our Friday as well. Now, you heard me mention that some areas on Friday will be dealing with a few showers, and don't believe what Futurecast is about to show you. This is way too aggressive of a model. But we will have the latest outlook coming up tonight at 10 with more of a trusted high-resolution model that will walk through those rain chances in a bit more detail. So you need to tune in because we'll have that outlook for your Friday night games. But if it's anything like what this model is projecting, then it's going to be washout conditions. We're not expecting that. We're expecting more of the same of what we've been getting with those pop-up showers towards the afternoon, but some decent downpours as well, and those chances do linger into 7 o'clock. So reason why I'm saying don't listen to this model is because this this would be an optimal forecast. We would not complain one bit about this. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen with the atmosphere that we have, so don't expect any of this. Just expect a few of those pop-up showers there by mid to late afternoon and even into those early evening hours. So yes, football games going to be tagged with a few of those showers. High temperatures because of those overly dry conditions. I mean, yes, there's moisture, but not impacting us too much. 93 Tupelo, 93 Houston, 93 around Starkville, with 94 Belzona and 92 around the South Haven and Tunica area. Again, dry air is going to make it bearable, so those heat indices not going to be overly high. Now here's a look at your high school game of the week forecast sponsored by Casey Lott. I did tell you that the percentages would be adjusted, and I did exactly that because you can see 20% there by pregame, 83 degrees, 68 by halftime, 10% coverage, and unless there's a helicopter on the field like there was last week at our game of the week, should be a pretty calm night with not those breezy conditions. But 67 towards the final snap, definitely not a bad forecast with temperatures cooling off, a result of some cooler air that's going to start to move in. Not really early weekend, but the latter part of our weekend and into early next week, we'll be enjoying some better temperatures. Hey, fall's right around that time. Makes sense to get some cooler temperatures around then. And also, speaking of football forecast, our SEC football forecast brought to you by Carl Hogan has kickoff at 2:30 for Tulane at Ole Miss. And yes, it's going to be a toasty one in Oxford. So if you're tailgating, and I expect everyone in Oxford to be tailgating that day, it's a party city. My wife is an Ole Miss alum, so we know what life is like over there in Oxford, Mississippi. So just make sure to drink the right fluid, stay as safe as possible, because this heat, 96 degrees can be overbearing in itself, and we don't want anyone to go down because we need all the voices cheering for the Rebels all game long, right? 94 by halftime and 87 by that final snap. So at least as we're heading to the square afterwards, should be a much more comfortable forecast for that post-game celebration. Ole Miss just has to do their thing on the football field. Northern Illinois at Mississippi State in Starkville at 3:15. Yes, right around that same time frame. So hot temperatures are going to impact us as well down in the junction. So as I told the Rebels, Bulldogs, you need to do the same thing. You need to make sure to stay hydrated and drink the right fluids all game long, pre-game, during game, after game, post-game, everything, every game. All game, you need it. 96 first play, 92 halftime, and 82 towards the final snap. Still, we're not expecting any rain chances, but by the mid to late afternoon, a few chances are possible. Still very isolated in nature and actually more limited than what we'll have for Thursday and for Friday. 66 degrees around 7, 90 there by noon, 94 towards the afternoon. Still seeing plenty of sunshine for that morning commute, but heading towards the afternoon, that's where we'll see some of those rain chances filter back into the forecast. Again, not overly high, but the chances are there, about 10% coverage. Friday, a better threat for that rainfall, but even then we're talking about 20%. Saturday, much more limited, perfect for our college football games. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, into midweek next week, better chances of rainfall. Fingers crossed that continues to verify, but we'll be tracking that here in the Room to Room Weather Center heading into that extended forecast. Luckily, temperature-wise, we're cooling off, at least gradually. 92 Saturday, 91 Sunday, into the upper 80s towards early next week. Fall happening in the next 5 days. It makes sense to line up that time frame with some cooler weather. Cooler weather. It's kind of cooler. But what we'll be tracking here in just a moment is the latest look at the tropics. Tracking the tropics, we have Gabrielle in the Atlantic now, just what to expect with it and what to expect with some more disturbances. We'll have the latest look on that coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6 in the next 60.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
What would you give for a child you loved to make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine.
Well, welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. What we're tracking is Gabrielle out in the Atlantic right now, currently a tropical storm. And you can see based off of our water vapor imagery where all of our moisture is. Gabrielle's hogging it all and wrapping around more of that moisture. As you can see, that drier air not infiltrating it just yet. So continuing to build in strength as it heads west into the rest of the Atlantic. So let's go ahead and get a track on Gabrielle over the next couple of days. Why don't we? So looking at that 4 o'clock advisory, what we're seeing is 1,005 millibars for that pressure level. Winds already at 50 miles an hour. Earlier on, the 10 a.m. advisory was at 45, so showing some increase in those wind gusts. And of course, we'll be having that new track tonight at 10, so make sure to tune in for the latest on that. But carrying this out over the next few days, you can see Friday afternoon by 1 p.m., 50 miles an hour still, but then Saturday early morning, we're upping that to about 60 miles an hour, so entering more of a primed atmosphere, 65 by Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday, reaching that Category 1 hurricane threshold is what we expect in that extended forecast. Again, if those conditions continue to remain optimal. The good thing with this forecast is look at this trend, starting to move a little bit more north and then carrying out there towards the northeast. That's what long track models have been forecasting and continues to verify that with our cone of uncertainty with the National Hurricane Center. So we appreciate this because it means that it's carrying it away from the United States, away from us here in North Mississippi, and no impact should be felt. But we also have more disturbances happening back in the Atlantic. And you might notice, Gabe, it looks like 2 circles are there. You'd be exactly right. The circle that we're watching with this first disturbance is the smaller circle, and that has a 20% chance of development over the next 2 days, 20% chance of development over the next 7. A little sneak peek, I looked at long-range models. It doesn't look overly impressive or conducive for these new tropical disturbances to develop into anything. So that's a good thing about it, but that's why 20% is there. But this one back behind it, the larger circle, yeah, I know it's hard to tell. They're both yellow. We might need more of a color palette with the National Hurricane Center moving forward, huh? 0% chance of development over the next 2 and 20% over the next 7. This is a wave currently coming off of the African coastline, so that remains to be seen how that will develop, but long track models not giving us any tropical issues heading into that extended forecast. So fortunately for us, I'm not expecting tropical weather, but unfortunately for us, we still need rainfall. However it may come, we do need that rainfall moving back into the forecast. Right now, our best bet is 20% chances. That still needs to be bumped down. We're talking 10% chances by around 7 o'clock, and those chances dissipating out overnight into much calmer forecast. We love calmer weather, but it comes at a trade-off because we do need some of those rainy conditions as a result of that drought that we've been experiencing, and we expect to get worse as that new drought monitor comes out tomorrow. So like I mentioned, latest look at Gabrielle will be coming up tonight at 10. And speaking of tonight at 10, we'll also have the latest model runs for your Friday night forecast where we'll be in South Pontotoc. We're looking at that in full detail because we don't want to get rained on, and I know you don't either. So tune in tonight at 10 for the very latest on that forecast. You can do so. Oh, we almost had a 5 o'clock happen again. I think we're good. But you can do so on the Mississippi Live Weather app. Download the app using the QR code on your screen or head to our website, MississippiLiveWeather.com, or should I say MSLiveWeather.com. Give you the latest details you need to know, a forecasted video that kind of gives a brief summary on what to expect over the next 24 hours, 7-day forecast, everything you need to know right here in the palm of your hands, or should I say right here in the palm of your hands. Now, speaking of, we will have that 24/7 stream going and our next broadcast happening tonight at 10. I told you why you need to tune in, and we expect to see you there with the same energy you guys brought last night. South Pontotoc, I'm talking about you, very celebratory in the chat. We need that energy every single night, so don't leave us hanging on that, okay? Well, we thank you guys for joining us tonight at 6. Have a great evening. Have a great church service if you have any of those midweek activities. And you know what? Let us know in the chat what you guys talked about tonight, because we always love learning a little bit more about the Lord, right? Well, we'll see you back here tonight at 10. And again, have a fantastic evening until then.
Community is the way we find our strength and share our hope. It's the way dinner on the table brings a family closer together. It's the way we make sure his first chapter book is the first step on his path to greatness. It's the way we rally in hard times and rise back up stronger than ever. United is the way we come together so everyone can thrive. Join us at unitedway.org.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy